Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Quantum Mystic Podcast. I'm here again, of course, with my amazing and beautiful co-host, Lisa Campion, and I'm Jane Bear, and we're talking about something today that I feel like, well, it touches everybody's life, personal life, whether they realize it or not, and that is the subconscious mind. And most of us grow up believing that I feel like change happens through effort. I feel like that's a common thread that, we need to try harder or be more disciplined or think more positively. And, while those things can help, they often don't reach the place where our patterns actually live because the majority of our behaviors and our reactions and even the way we experience the world is not coming from the conscious mind that we're actively aware of. They're coming from the subconscious mind. And the subconscious is like this deeper operating system of the psyche, and it holds patterns that were formed through our earliest experiences and how we learn to stay safe and how we learn to belong and how we learn to protect ourselves emotionally. And the important thing to understand is that those patterns were not created to hold us back. They were created to protect us. But, the strategies that really once helped us survive, they don't always serve the purpose we are becoming or have become. So at some point in life, many people begin to notice something that maybe they want something different, or they see what needs to change in their lives, or they understand, we start to understand it intellectually. But the same patterns continue to repeat, not because people are weak or we lack discipline, but because the deeper system hasn't been updated yet. So that's what we're exploring today, really how the subconscious patterns are formed, why willpower alone often isn't enough to change them, and why the nervous system has to feel really safe for transformation to happen. We talk about this a lot in this podcast, in the school, and also how real change happens through awareness and gentle rewiring rather than force. And so, we're going to unpack this together today and talk about how the subconscious works, how it shapes the way we experience life, how people can begin working with it rather than constantly fighting against it. And this is a important conversation on the path of any healing and understanding ourselves on a deeper level. And I think that there's a lot of different ways that the subconscious is explained, and it's kind of cool to go into all the different, Eastern philosophy, Jungian, Joe Dispenza. I mean, everybody has a way. Dolores Cannon. It's kind of cool how everybody says it slightly differently, but pretty much always getting back to the same thing. So welcome. Thanks for being here with us. Lisa, you know a lot about this. What do you think?
Oh, I just want to give a shout out to my friend Robin. Hi, Robin. She's on the chat with us. My other dear friend Robin. And we'd love to hear from you if you're listening. Let us know where you're from, and how you experience your subconscious. Yeah. This is such a favorite topic of mine, Jane. And when I studied to be a therapist way back in the day, I studied Jungian type therapy. So the subconscious was something that I, we were working on a lot. And it's really fascinating to me, like this, it's kind of trite, but I think sort of true. Like, the picture of the iceberg, and like only like 20% of the iceberg is above the water and 80% of the iceberg is under the water. Yeah. And we can really think about our subconscious that way. So like, it's like 20% of our conscious mind is our conscious mind is only 20% of our mental capacity, right? And the other 80% and again, this depends on who you're talking to, is below the surface of our conscious mind. That's the subconscious,
Yeah.
And I think, I love your point about um, really, like in the mystery school that we run together, Jane and I, we spend the first year kind of clearing out the conscious mind. We work, a lot through the egoic self and really examining our thoughts, our beliefs. We use um, the framework of the chakras to really look at how our conscious mind is running. In the second year, it's all about the subconscious, clearing out the subconscious, and we work through rituals, we work through meditations, guided meditations, we do shadow work because our shadows live in our subconscious, you know?
Yeah.
So it's super important. Like, I think it's, if you only stay in the realm of the conscious mind, you're only hitting like that 20% of what's going on inside your psyche.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And yes, Robin, I love Dolores Cannon's work too. She's pretty cool. And Alyssa, hi. Yes, she says, I'm in school for clinical psychology, and the way they discuss the subconscious mind holds some good truths. For sure. For sure. Everybody says that. I feel like just about everybody says the same thing, even if you go back to like um, the Buddha, like saying the same thing, the Vedas, like saying the same thing, just saying it slightly with different words. Um, and which is helpful. It's because I think, you know, uh, let's see, one of my favorite, I guess, teachers, thinkers out there is Greg Braden, and he says the subconscious thoughts repeat 60,000 to 80,000 times each day.
Mhm.
Subconscious thoughts repeat 60,000 to 80,000 times each day. Holy
Yeah,
moly.
and that's a sort of that same percentage, like 80%
Yeah,
of our thoughts are just the regurgitated thoughts we've had over and over again that are below that level of our awareness, and the other percentage are new thoughts, or maybe
yeah,
even less,
yeah,
which that's Bruce Lipton talks about that too.
yes.
And, that's just such it's sort of sobering to think about that our psyche is just coughing up this regurgitated material that God installed into us, by the time we're 5 or 6 years old. And
Mhm.
unless we take some time to kind of examine, like, do I really know that am I even aware that I have that belief? Am I aware of how that belief is impacting me today? Is it even still true? Does my conscious mind agree? Because I think, what happens to so many of us, and you brought this, up in the idea of manifesting, is that your conscious mind wants to manifest something, and your subconscious mind is like, "Meow," like, nope,
Yeah.
like, oh, I really, and this is not autobiographical at all. But like, oh, I really want a relationship. Like my conscious, mind is like, yes, I really, and my subconscious mind is like, no,
Oh,
you know,
no.
none, none shall pass, and and so, because usually speaking, the subconscious has a stronger energetic charge, right?
Yeah,
The part of you that has the stronger charge to it is the one that wins. So it's a
exactly.
little like, driving with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake.
Yeah,
And and if you're dealing with your subconscious mind, um, it's usually going to win this argument, especially it has a lot of energetic charge around it. Yeah.
exactly. Because, with all those, all, like you said, all that energy that's behind it, even though we don't know that it's happy, we often don't know that it's happening.
Yeah.
By adulthood, about 90% of our behavior is subconscious habit. So it's
Yeah.
not just, it's those thoughts that we're having that we're not aware of, but that's creating our like habitual life. And so you can see how the subconscious actually rules us, right?
Yeah.
Um, and and also, there is vast intelligence in there. Like there's so much opportunity in the subconscious. And
Yeah.
it takes, I think a lot of courage, as we've witnessed in so many, to like turn towards those patterns and also make the decision that I'm going to do something differently,
Mm.
and or I'm going to stop doing that, or I'm going to be more, I want more discipline, and so turning towards the subconscious and what it's going to sort of unveil to us, the intelligence that it's going to give us, the opportunity, I think is really a beautiful thing, how it is actually designed that way once we decide to do that sort of work.
Yeah, and I've always been fascinated with it because I've been almost my whole life a lucid dreamer, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I just dream my head off every single night, and I've been that way my whole life. I think it's like a byproduct of my psychic nature, or it's just how I am. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
To remember my dreams, I dream all night. I'm usually aware that I'm dreaming, and while I'm dreaming, I'm like, "Wow, this dream is kinda messed up," and I'm, like, analyzing my dreams while I'm dreaming, and every morning I wake up and consider my dreams before I do anything else. I was like, "Is there a message? You know,
Mm,
what's the message in that dream for me?" And I bring this up because for me, dreams are the primary way I access my subconscious,
mm,
because it's hard to access your subconscious. Your conscious mind, has a hard time accessing that part of us. So I think we have to find ways through dreaming, visions. Like if you do a plant medicine journey, a lot of times what you're looking at is your subconscious. If you're doing, um, a shamanic journey, or what arises in guided meditations often is, we have to change our brain. We kind of go into a non-ordinary state to access our subconscious, and that's why Dolores Cannon is so good, because she was a hypnotherapist, right? So hypnosis is another incredible way to get inside of our subconscious, and what she found is doing a hypnotic regression on thousands of people, hundreds, I don't know, tens of thousands of people in her very, very long career, is that,
yes.
hypnosis would bring you right into the subconscious, and then there's all this cool stuff in there,
Yeah.
you know, that and when we get in there, and that's why, things like hypnosis, quantum hypnosis are so powerful at healing the subconscious, because we need an access point to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I excuse me. I've shared this with you, of course, but I sort of stopped dreaming sometime in high school, and so that wasn't my avenue, and haven't ever done hypnosis. So the work that I found that helped me along this path is I like to see patterns in everything. My brain is oriented towards patterns, and so once I could see patterns within myself, within my life, and how they, when we see that when we, with the realization that everybody and everything is sort of a mirror reflecting back, not an exact mirror, but it's reflecting back something towards us. Every conversation, every person, every like fight, is reflecting back something towards us. And so I'd start to see these patterns, and that showed me, it sort of was like a lens into my own subconscious
Mm.
processes of behavior that were driving me. It's like, oh, there's that predictable survival mode again. There's that reaction again. And that is how I've been able to work through my subconscious,
Mm.
not really in an altered state, but just in like maybe like hyper awareness of my own actions and patterns.
And Jane, don't you think your meditation practice, because you've been a pretty
That
dedicated
meditation.
like your whole entire life, you've been a dedicated meditator. And don't you think meditation is such a powerful way?
Yeah.
And my theory on that is why we don't really like meditation, or why we squirm, because if you do sitting meditation for long enough, you gain access to your subconscious, I think. And that stuff sort of like floats up from the bottom of the pond. And then you're like, ew, like, you know, look at that, ew. I often have an ick factor when I look at my subconscious. I'm like, ooh, it's like the mucky stuff that floats down to the bottom of the pond.
Yes, 100%. I was sort of given tools at a very young age to for meditation and how to meditate, and then it became, yeah, a lifelong meditator. And once you have that practice, you do take the meditation, and also a like 25 year yoga practitioner, you take that off the mat, you take that off the cushion into life. And so you're able to be the witnesser, the conscious
Mhm.
observer. So
Yeah.
that's very, very true. Yeah. Um, a shout out again. Robin says, I can't believe we're talking about her. Just did a day-long Dolores Cannon session. Awesome. Life-changing. Cool. Yeah, I bet it was. I love how her work is still so relevant. I think it
Yeah,
always will.
she's total visionary, incredible healer. And Alyssa says, what if your dreams are repeating themes or messages that you thought you'd already worked through? Well, I think the simple answer there is if you're still having it, you haven't worked through it. Like there's still some, and I think it's layers and layers. Like I've been having this same repeating dream, almost a nightmare my entire life.
Yeah.
And um, I just I think it's a core wound for me. I think it's a soul level wound. And I just unpeel another layer of it, you know? And when we're dealing with our core wounds, it's like, it's not a one and done, it's like lifetimes, multiple lifetimes, multiple lifetimes in different dimensions on different planets
Yeah.
before we fully unpack that. There's some things still yet to unpack if it's still happening.
Yeah, and it might,
Yeah.
like you said, it might seem like it's the exact same, but there's probably just another layer to it that is coming,
Yeah.
that seems like it's the same, but it's not.
Right.
It's like just below it, just below it, just below it.
Right.
So yeah, stick with it.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I think we've sort of already said this, but subconscious patterns are formed very early in life. And, when we're children, the brain, uh, it spends long periods in theta brainwave states, which are highly absorbent. Is that a word? It is a word. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
That's a word.
impressionable. It sounded really weird. And so the mind is essentially recording the world around you. It's recording how love works, like what conflict is, how safety is created in your family system, how approval is earned in your like family structure, and what happens when we express ourselves honestly. And this experience really becomes like your internal map. And like for example, if love was inconsistent, the subconscious may learn that like closeness or that love, that relationship requires some like feels like anxiety because you don't know if it's going to be there or not. um you know if you like, if emotional expression was punished or shut down in any way, it's like we learn that it's safer to stay quiet. If like approval from your parents or whoever came through achievement, you may learn that your worth depends on how you perform. So these are all adaptations. And
Mhm.
the nervous system is really created around this, right?
Yeah. It's like they're growing together, like the experiences that you're absorbing, like, um, help form how your nervous system functions. So
Yeah.
I think that, our subconscious and our nervous system are incredibly closely related and that you can't you have to work with them both together. So you have to sort of learn how to calm down the nervous system, how to regulate your nervous system if you want to access your subconscious. And it has to be done in sort of that relaxed state.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's sort of why things like hypnosis or sleep are
Mm,
ways that we can hit our subconscious because the hypnotherapist spends a lot of time getting your nervous system to calm down before you can hit access your subconscious. So I think they're braided together, like
yeah.
they're just integral pieces of the same thing. And so nervous system regulation is super duper duper important when you're doing work on your subconscious.
Yeah, it's that like question, am I safe? And
Yeah.
oftentimes our conscious mind will say yes, but our
Mhm.
body is saying no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our conscious mind is like, yeah, of course I'm safe, but we are so used to living in survival mode, which is that fight
Yeah.
or flight state, we don't even realize it. And so doing this work isn't going to work. It's going to be
Yeah.
really challenging because we're constantly in that survival mode. And the brain will prioritize safety over like reflection, over the ability to do this introspection.
It's called neuroception. And it's like our body's unconscious surveillance system, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you're automatic and subconsciously scanning the environment all the time, looking for those safety cues. And it's happening faster than your conscious mind is. If you think about how we survive,
Yeah.
we have to survive faster than your brain can think. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So your body, like I love it that you said your body, because I think this is a very physical, it's designed to keep you alive, to keep you
Yeah.
safe. And yeah, so I think looping the body somatic practices are super important in doing work with our subconscious, because that neuroception is just super acute. And you know, I don't know, I really trust at this point, and I think I learned this through all the years of martial arts that I did, to
Yeah.
really trust my body. If my body thinks there's something hinky, there's something hinky,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true that like we want to get to the place where our body is actually giving us information that we can trust. That's if there's a goal, I think learning how to sit with our sensations and sort of sift through
Mhm.
them and discern, is this fear that stemmed from when I was a kid and feeling unsafe, or is this actual unsafety in the moment, and just felt in the body? So, but I think we need to, like, again, very gently at the pace of the nervous system, rewire patterns that no longer fit who we are now. Um,
Mhm.
and it's like I think it happens through just repeated moments of awareness paired with
Yeah,
new responses.
that's right.
It's like little by little. So first we recognize,
Yep.
like it's just that recognition. Oh, okay. And then again, this has been true for me, but you begin to notice the pattern as it happens. It's like, oh, there's the moment I shut down when I'm in conflict, or there's the moment that you reach for distraction, instead of like sitting with your feelings, or like resting or whatever it is. And there's the moment where fear is like at the wheel and telling me to stay small, and that
Mhm.
awareness interrupts the pattern.
Yeah.
And then,
Or you could also choose an interrupting behavior, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so I think to me, like the awareness is the beginning point, but you might actually choose to do something different,
yeah,
that also interrupts the pattern.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where we need to then, make new choices, or tell a new story, you know,
Mhm.
um, speaking like honest and true statements, instead of,
Yeah.
you know, the past programming, even just pausing before you react, you know, um,
Mhm.
all of these little things become new data for the brain and new neural pathways over time. And
Yeah.
the subconscious slowly will update its own internal map. And
Mhm.
over time, this is why I think it's hard for people, is because we want like immediate relief or immediate change, but it really does take time and
Yep.
consistency. But over time, it 1,000% works. you know, it's this work works.
It does. And I think other things that's sort of like the moment by moment, process. And I think of it as kind of 4 steps, like awareness, pattern interruption, replacing, doing something different, and then repeat that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then I think there are things we can do like meditation, like shadow work, like one of my favorites, sleep hypnosis. So I'm a huge fan of sleep hypnosis and
Mm,
finding a really trusted, I love this guy. I listen to, he has a YouTube thing and I listen to them frequently and have um noticed a huge result from that. Or maybe
yeah.
you do like Robin did, like a quantum healing hypnosis session. That's a day long session. We can, or you do go on the meditation retreat, or you do some things that kind of like boost the process, like accelerate the process. Or you go to Quantum Mystic Mystery School and you go into year 2, where we just hammer down on this topic for almost a whole year, um, and really deeply examine our subconscious beliefs about really intense things like life and death and sex and power and love and grief. And like we're doing some really deep archaeology excavation of our subconscious self. So I think there's those moment by moments, and I think there's also deeper work
Yeah.
too.
Exactly. There are really many avenues to do this work. I think it's the most important thing is just the stepping up to the plate to yourself and saying, okay, it's time, you know,
Hmm.
let's do
Yep.
this. Let's dive in. Because again, like I said, I truly believe the subconscious is like this endless opportunity and this like multidimensionality awareness um, that is there just waiting for us to turn towards and and once our conscious mind really stops fighting going there and begins
Hmm.
listening to that deeper intelligence, then we can truly experience like who we are, you know?
Yeah. It's so rich, isn't it? It's so rich and fertile and juicy and swampy,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I'd have this recurring dream of, like, going down into the cellar, going into the sewer, you know what I mean? And I'm like, my subconscious isn't very original, like, it's pretty easy to read, I'm like, I'm in the sewer, I'm like, "Oh, there's alligators down here." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just in my subconscious again. I wonder what those alligators represent," you know? Or maybe I'm angry. Oh my gosh, like, there's some anger that I haven't really, processed, and I'm like, "Okay, come over here, alligator, let's talk," you know?
I love that.
Um, and yeah, I'm just like, "Oh, I'm in the sewer again." It's just my own subconscious. It's kinda like a sewer. I mean, it is really like
Right?
that, for me.
Mine, like, when I look at it, it feels and looks like a big giant black cauldron, like,
Mm,
of, like, stew, and it's
yeah.
just, I kind of, like, ladle out some of the stew, and then I'm like, "Oh, at the bottom, there's that? Okay." It's like, there's more.
It's gumbo, it's gumbo.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
it's kinda
also
to the
sometimes I'm in the
side.
swamp, like, I'm slogging through the swamp, there's alligators in the swamp too, you know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, yeah, there's, like, dead things floating in there." I don't know what.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. Yeah, well, it's a good conversation, and, thanks everybody for joining in who is here,
And if
and,
you wanna know more about the school, we're starting a new cohort real soon, so, find the quantum you can go visit our website, quantum-mystic.com if you wanna consider joining our group. It's been, pretty amazing. Thing to be a part of it. If you wanna join us in Sedona, we still have a few slots for June for our Sedona retreat. We go it's a real quantum leap forward in your personal spiritual growth and super duper duper fun. You get to be with us in person. Yay!
yay!
So check it out.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really fun retreat that's coming up in June, and check it out if you wanna come and join us, it's super fun,
Yeah.
um, and and yeah, you can read learn about both of us, although we're sort of everywhere. But janebearhealingstudio.com is where you can find me. And of course, you can find Lisa at lisacampion.com and all the things.
Mhm, mhm.
If you listen to us on podcasts, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube or whatever, we would love you to do the liking and subscribing and all the things. Tell us how we're doing and topics you'd love to hear us talk about, because that's fun for us.
Yeah, totally fun.
Yeah. Good. Well, thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.